this is Ryan with the Linkasoarus training team, and in this video, we are going to go over the dashboard. So starting from the main screen, the dashboard, first thing you can do is select your date range, and we're just going to leave it defaults to last 7 days. We're just going to start there. As a reminder, if you haven't seen other videos about the dashboard, you can select your location from this drop down. You can select your groups, however you have that set up. This gives you a rundown of the number of locations that you have linked and the number of team members, how many different Facebook pages that you've linked. Now, you might have, let's just say 75 locations, but only 73 of them in this example have been officially linked to their official Facebook page. Same thing with Google. So like in this example, we have 75 locations, but of the 75, 73 are linked to Facebook, and of the 75, 72, which means there's probably a couple other that are still in the activation process and have yet to be connected. So neither here nor there. Then we have Google My Business and we have Facebook. And so these are two different tabs that have different analytics. We also have a downloadable PDF right here where you can click this and you can select which reports that are currently available. And this may change over time. So at the time you're watching this, if you're like, oh, there's more options here, there's constantly new features coming. And so you might see some additional features here. But you would just select the ones that you want, either all or just individual ones like this. For example, if you just wanted to have stats about Facebook, you could do this, hit generate, and it will download a PDF that you can use to share with your team or review. And then we're going to scroll down here. So we have Facebook Analytics, and this is your reach. Reach is going to be the number of people, basically eyeballs that have seen your, actually, let's start over here. Let's start with Google. So in Google, we have reach. And so this is the number of eyeballs and people that have seen you on Google search, whether they've searched for you and found your Google My Business location, or they've stumbled across it just doing a search. But there's a number of people that have seen some content of your Google My Business listing. And this kind of gives you an average total over this period of time, average per location, depending on how many locations you have linked. So in this situation, we have 72. Then we have average per location per day. So this would be based on the 7-day window here. And then we have our analytics here. You'll notice here that previous year's data is only available from the day you connect to Linkasoarus. So if you're a brand new user and you come over here and you're looking and you're curious as to why there's no historical data, for this report, it's like a clock, and the clock or timer really starts the day you've connected your first location. That is under the location, and there's a whole lesson on how to do that. And then you'll probably notice here there is no data. So this is not a new account. This is an existing account, but there's no data, right here. And so this is just a reminder right here that Google kind of wants to wait a little bit until they have all their data confirmed before they release it. And so you got about a 5-day window. So the most recent 5 days are never going to have data. And so if so that's why you probably see here, 110,000, then we have 0. And so we can also come here and we can compare. So a lot of users want to compare, against last year. So the time of this recording, it's 2022. If we want to look at a comparison for the exact same period of time back in 2001, we can come here and then you're going to get this chart that looks like this. Each one of these, this is 7 days. So each of the days are tagged. So in this one day last year, 124,000 people, and then you get the exact number here when as you can see there, 124,289. When you roll your mouse over it, kind of gives you some superior information. And then we have engagement. So we have engagement in this example, 5,888, average per location, per day, and then your percentage. And this is really just some math. This is saying of the 109, 618, 5,888 engaged, and so that's where your percentages come from here. If, for example, we come up here and we want to look at, let's just say last month. It's going to give us a lot more data. So it's going to give us a full amount of data. And then you can come here and also compare against last year. And you have all this stuff like this. Again, you can scroll the cursor over it. You can come and hit this plus button if you want to kind of zoom into a certain period of time. You can grab the hand and let's see here. We can move, or you can move stuff like this. So you kind of want to look at specific days up close. You can zoom out. You can go back to home, which kind of resets it. And then if these numbers are a little too much for you, you can always turn that off just so you can kind of see what your trend is over time, again, compared to last year or previous year. So this would be 2019. And again, it's just pulling data from the time. So like if, for example, you connected your account in 2019, in the middle of this month of December, you would show 0 and then a spike up once you started connecting. Also, if you are adding locations to your account, let's just say you're a growing franchise or growing brand, you might see a increase there as well, because now it's pulling from your whole entire account. Now you can come up here and remove or limit the number of locations you want to pull data for, or by group, or however you want to do that. But I just want to let you know that's how that works. You also have your engagement trend here as well. So when you select this compared to last year or previous year, that's going to also update. You can also toggle this on or off. This kind of gives you the, if you want to highlight or roll the cursor or mouse over exactly what you want to look at, it kind of shadows the one you're not looking at in the background. Same thing here, same thing here. And as we scroll down, we have a Google Review Analytics. And so this is basically showing us that our current average rating since the beginning of time, since the beginning of the first location had a Google My Business location and started collecting review data. That's what this means. And you'll notice here, this goes back a lot farther, because a cool thing is the analytics are captured for since that Google My Business listing was live, whether you started your account today, or you started it, 5 years ago. Linkasoarus is going to go back through and pull all the historical data, which is kind of cool. And so you can see a trend over time. And this is for the whole account, all the locations, all these 72 locations on Google. You have this as well. Another fun feature is you can come in here again. You can look at how you compared to, let's just say 2011, and you can see, here we probably didn't have a lot of data. There was nothing going on here. We didn't have any reviews. Let's see here. We might have few stores. Now we're starting to get more stores, starting to spike up. Stores or locations, I should say. So maybe this account only had a couple locations that was only getting a couple reviews. For example, let's just say in 2011, maybe there was only one active location that had a Google My Business listing during the month of December, or out of the few Google My Business listings there were, only one review was captured, which was a 5-star review that just happened to happen on this day. So that kind of gives you an idea of how things are trending over time. You also have this trend line. We'll turn this off. You have these 2 trend lines here. So you have your current average rating, which is this orange line here, yellowish orange line, date range, current, and then date range ratings. And so you have these different lines here. This one here, that kind of shows your star rating over time. So you can kind of see if you are, as an average, improving compared to, for example, a previous year. Normally these lines, especially when you're going to do a lot of data, they're going to run pretty close. So you can have this, your mouse roll over it. And in this example, the current average rating on December 8, 2021 was, as you can see here, 3.69. But the prior year was 3.6. And so it's safe to say that your organization is improving, and improved by 0.09 stars over the last 12 months. Since 2017. Here we would look at, let's say, 2020, and you can look, and this might even be different. So you can see, and this is another good example with the reverse. So 3.69 effective, that's December 13th, 2001. We have a 3.69 star average, but then the previous year, 2020, we were at 3.76. So in this example, we could see that we're dropping on average. And so these are just good stats to know to kind of get a macro view, an overall view of maybe where your trend is heading. You also get your total number of views with comments, total number of views without comments, your date range star rating. So you can look at here, you got 3.25 in the month of December. The number of reviews, the date range number of views with comments and without comments. And so a lot of users want to compare and see, okay, are we getting our customers, if you will, giving us reviews and they're just giving us a star, because Google at the point of this recording does not require necessarily a comment, but some people give comments, some people don't. So a lot of users like this kind of breakdown. A little visual here of the date range, so the month of December in this example, a number of views, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then percentage of reviews, how this percentage makes up. Obviously, you would want to kind of work towards having your 5-star reviews being your highest percentage, which it happens to be in this example. Again, with comments, without comments, a lot. In this example, we have 356 reviews. You can see a lot of folks, when they happen to give a negative review, are going to leave a comment. So that's really good feedback to go back and look at those comments, look exactly what they're saying. And a lot of Linkasoarus users view reviews almost like a secret shopper. I mean, they're telling you what they like and what they don't like, and that can help you kind of refine and optimize your operations the best that you know how. And then we have review by star rating. So again, this is date range, and this is for all time. So you can see here we have this many 1s, this many 5 stars, and here's your similar breakdown as well. This gives you a breakdown. This is your date range Google review reply time. So this kind of lets you know sort of a snapshot, if you will, of how fast you are replying to reviews. And you can go and go through the list if you haven't gone through and turned on a lot of the automation for your reviews, because you might want to automate replying to, for example, 4 and 5 stars with a thank you. That's why these average reply times are very fast. We're talking, minutes to an hour. And then you have, maybe these 1 stars take time because there's some due diligence that you're doing. And so this is pretty typical from an account where a lot of the reviews are automated. Again, another best practice, you can go and do a search within the Help Center for how to automate Google reviews. And again, a best practice that a lot of users will do is if there is a review with no comment, they set those up. A lot of Linkasoarus users set those up with automated replies. So for example, if somebody gives you a 1-star review, but there's no comment, then the reply can be kind of standardized, and you can go through those lessons to figure out exactly how to implement that. Coming down here, you can also look at the date range by review, just a little bit more superior information. You can also come in here and you can look at the previous year, which will populate down here. And this just shows you by day, so if you're looking at your overall operations and there's a particular day where operationally speaking, it was more of a challenge, and did that turn into a lot more negative reviews? So for example, just picking a random day here, this particular day had 11 1 stars and only 2 5 stars. And so you might go back and look at this particular day and say, okay, what happened on that day that might cause us to receive a lot more negative feedback? And then we can use that as a coaching opportunity within our organization to decide, okay, how can we prevent that from happening? And then more importantly, this shows you your average reply time. So this is a pretty lengthy average reply time. You also have this line right here that gives you an average reply time for your reviews in that given period of time. And so that yellow line moving up and down, as you can see here, it's moving up and down. You can just highlight it like that. And then also this is an opportunity to kind of refine your operations, because these are customers giving you some feedback. And some Linkasoarus users would say, well, the higher the reply time just means that we are, from some customer standpoint, thinking that we're ignoring them. And so there is a correlation. We have a little spike in poor reviews, which has a spike in reply time. So that might be an operational opportunity for improvement. Come down here, this is again a comparison. So on exact, almost to the T, look at this. This is Um, this is an unexpected stat, but literally the same day on the previous year, we had a spike in reviews. On the opposite speaking, though, a very high disproportionate amount of reviews happened with 5 stars, so complete opposite. This is an opportunity a lot of Linkasaurus users like, because if there are some seasonalities to your type of business, you might look at this and say, okay, let's see, that was 2020. Let's see if there's a correlation to 2019. Okay, not, maybe there's a spike here at the beginning of the month. What's going on here? Is that consistent with 2018? Okay, it's more here, but you can try to use this as an opportunity to forecast in the future. And so you might say, okay, we have, looks like more reviews here towards the end of the month. Is that consistent with the previous year? Not so much, so that you couldn't really plan for that. If you're right here and you're looking at the previous year, you might not expect that. So this might be an anomaly as to why you're getting a lot of reviews, and it looks pretty well balanced. Here you have your reply time by review, so you can come in here and look and see, okay, what is going on? Where are we getting our delays in replying to reviews? So you can see here how the automation on this count has our 5-star reviews getting the review reply done extremely quickly. Here's a 4-star. There's a little spike, but pretty consistently they're getting them done really fast, which is because I happen to know this account has a lot of automation going on. Then you have your 3 stars, 2 stars, and 1 stars. So you notice here, these do not have, for the most part, especially 1 stars, do not have a lot of automation, because they want to be more of a human, if you will, a live interaction with those customers. And so that definitely makes sense based on this account. But a best practice is to go back, and if you don't have an account that's very quick to reply in 4 and 5s, you might want to consider doing the automation feature. And then here we have a comparison against the previous year with the exact same data. And so then we can come up here and go to Facebook. Facebook's going to have similar stats as far as reach and engagement. This will always jump when you might be, let's just say, running a lot of social media paid advertising, or decreasing. So this account here, I'm pretty sure they changed their marketing budget here, right, to see a nice sizable spike. 36,000 was 38 to 36,000, then boom, right up to 54, and then they took a dip. Maybe they took a dip because, well, I believe this business was actually closed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Well, they're not going to want to spend a lot of advertising around this period of time, and then I bet they trended it back up when people were coming back from vacation. That totally makes sense. Last thing I want to do, again, a best practice, is spend money when your customers are not necessarily able to order or purchase from you, depending on your type of business. Again, you can come over here and you can change this and just do a sort of visual graph. You can also compare against last year. This will pull the same data based on when you set up your account. So you will not have historical data like this until you're rolling over 1 year of having an active account. Engagement, same exact thing here. Facebook followers and Facebook reviews, very similar for the most part to Google, except we're just tracking the number of followers per location on average, date range number of followers, date range number of new followers. Again, this is just for the month, I believe, of December still. Total number of posts, so that's over 61,000 posts across, I believe it was 72 or 73 locations. So it's basically 72, 73 times, however many posts they did. So if the user posted once, that one post, if it went to their whole entire company, all the different locations, would technically be about 72 posts. So there's a lot of activity going on. Average per day, date range number of daily posts, date range of posts as well. Kind of tells you the number of reviews they were happening. Thumbs up is a positive, which would be a recommended review. Not recommended. This is since the beginning of time. This is the date range. Give you some stats there. Date range review by reply time. This also gives you that reply time, so you can track to see if you have. This is also a good way to see if you have any outstanding, any Facebook reviews that have yet to be replied to, which again, those are customers waiting to be contacted. Just like with Google, you will be able to pull all of your reviews since the day those individual Facebook pages or fan pages were created. So they can go back as far as 2012. In this account's example, if you just set up an account last year, let's just say in the beginning of 2020, then you would have data, down here as well. So this kind of gives you some information. You have your average reply time, likes and dislikes. Coming down here, this is your date range reply time. So just as more of a visual of how fast you're getting back to people. Same thing here versus the comparison year. Then we get into some Facebook inbox messenger features. This was a highly requested feature that we're pretty excited about. And so this, I'm going to explain this here in a sec. This for the month of December is showing all the inbox messages. So somebody sent one of your locations, for example, you have a Facebook fan page and a customer or somebody sent you a message asking, are you open? Are you hiring? Can I see a menu? Can I see what you sell? What's your web address? Or they've even applied to your business. Maybe you have a Facebook job posting. You've gone in and created a job posting on your Facebook fan page and somebody has applied to it. These stats would be captured in here. And so if you come here and there's no historical data, that just means your account, in this example, this account did not have inbox. This account was not connected to Linkasoarus for a full 12 months. So we haven't rolled over in this account 12 months to be able to capture this data. So this would be very typical. You would see this on a brand new account. There's some information that shows you what that means there. Coming down here, this is Facebook job applications. This is another highly requested feature. So now if you have one location or 1,000 locations, you can within a couple clicks go to the Facebook tab, come here, select your date range. This just happens to be the month of December 2020. And you can see how many applications you receive. And so these are actual just applicants. People have responded to your job posting on Facebook, very specific to just that one thing. So in this example, this account had 59 applications, and you can see here we don't have any historical data because this account has not been connected to Facebook has not been receiving inbox messages for 12 months on the Linkasoarus platform. So in 2022, this will show 2021 data. Then we have here applicants replied to within 24 hours. And so if you go through the Facebook job posting or inbox integration, search for that lesson, then you will understand. But as a reminder, Facebook allows up to 24 hours after you receive an inbox message, which would be over here, to reply back to that Facebook user, whether it is a job application or just an inquiry. For example, what are your hours? Facebook allows 24 hours. What Facebook does not want you to do is be able to wait, weeks or months or whatever it is to finally get back to somebody. They want you to be engaged, which makes sense. And so you can go through that lesson, and I'm not going to explain that here. But here we had 27% so 16 out of 59 were contacted within 24 hours. 14 were tagged as not hired. So again, this is just giving you the stats from the Facebook inbox or the inbox Facebook job application, all the information. I'm not going to go into detail about that here, but these are the stats. And so we had 14 showed not hired. We had a scheduled interview 1. So again, it's just math, 1 out of 59. Average reply time to applicant, look at this, 7 minutes. That's pretty good. But we have opportunity here, just using this as a training example, where this ideally, if you're in a staffing situation where you need people bad, your goal would be to have this at 100%. Hired applicants right now is still saying 0, awaiting response is 44. And so this means we have 44 folks going down here that are waiting a response. This is a response from your team or whoever has access to that location within Linkasaurus. That could be you, that could be a team member, it could be a manager, whatever the position is. So these people that have applied via Facebook are kind of floating around there in your inbox, and they're waiting for you or one of your users to go in and change their hiring status. And so are they in the, have they been hired? Have they not been hired? You might be seeing email notifications asking you if that applicant has been hired or not. And so getting your team to update these job applicant status is very important to how you can evaluate your hiring practices using the Facebook platform. Sort of best practice is really trying to focus on getting this to 100% and then getting this awaiting response down to 0. And then you'll have applicants waiting would be almost none. Applicants hired would depend on how many people have hired or not hired. So it's almost one of these two, scheduled to interview, and then the average reply time you want as low as possible. Over time, what you'll notice is you will see a correlation between your advertising spend, the type of job posting you have, the budget you're using, and you'll be able to crunch your own numbers and figure out where that sweet spot is to determine, okay, if I'm getting back to somebody at a certain speed, what impact is that having on my applicant hired status? And a lot of Linkasourus users are saying there's definitely a correlation between having a low reply time and a applicant hired time. Another best practice and sort of some feedback from Linkasourus users is when this doesn't get updated, you might have hired, or this account might have hired, let's just say 25 of these 59 people, but the person that's running the ads and managing your job applications and your advertising online is not aware of that. And so they're not able to reinforce and support successful marketing best practices because the team hasn't updated their applicant status. So just sort of a best practice. And again, you can come up here, and once you've selected all that you want, you can download all these things. If you have any questions on this, you can always come over here to the help chat and send us a message, as we love to help. And as always, link and soar with us.